Okay, let's take a look at this essay. Now, I'm going to be referring to our modified version of the criteria. I'm going to be using this when I refer to the essay. So this is for teaching purposes only. Okay. So, two-part question, causes and solution. What are the causes of this problem? How could the situation be improved? Okay, so what's the topic? Transport delays and long journey times are a widespread phenomenon in many cities today. What are the causes of this problem? So what's causing this? And how can this situation of delays and journey times, how can that be improved? So first things first, let's check the word count, see what we've got. 311, okay, not too bad. Around about 300 words is fine. This paragraph looks a little bit long. 131 words in a single paragraph. Okay, looks a little bit long. Let's have a look. It is true that nowadays in most towns, well, towns are not strictly speaking the same as cities, spending more time waiting for transportation means waiting for transport, and devoting more time to trip has been a global issue. Well, why is it present perfect? It's happening now. And okay, this first sentence, it doesn't make sense. So it's true that nowadays in most towns, spending more time waiting for transport and devoting more time to trip. Well, journeys are not necessarily the same as trips. Now, when you're paraphrasing, sometimes it doesn't quite work to use a synonym. It's got to be interchangeable. So you could have said journeys, journeying times instead of trips. Has been. Why is it has been? Isn't it currently? So spending more time doing more trips, has been, is a global issue, or are a global issue. Okay, but it doesn't. But why would you? There's no need to say this, because it's talking about in many cities. You've got in most town now, right? Again, in terms of paraphrasing, most is not many. Many means a lot. Most means nearly all. So it's not the same. Towns, you could use that, except obviously towns are not cities. They are smaller. So add nothing, omit nothing. That's my advice. Don't change the topic to something that it's not. There are a variety of possible causes to this, such as overpopulation. What's that got to do with transport delays and journey times? But steps need to be taken to tackle this problem by developing a transport system. Well, you already have a transport system. What it's talking about is delays and journey times. So what's causing this? Okay, let's see. In the 21st century, okay, there is a lot of progress regarding medical systems. In the 21st century, a lot of progress and development regarding medical science and systems. What's a medical system? A lot of progress and development in medical science has been done. Okay, and what's that got to do with transport and journey times? What's that got to do with transport and journey times? Okay, as a result, in the current modern world, well, you've just said that once, the possibility of mortality has been decreased dramatically. Okay, so the examiner's thinking, okay, what's this got to do with delaying transport? So most people will be talking about traffic congestion. Okay, but by contrast, the expectancy. So as a result, in the current modern world, you mean today, the possibility of mortality has been decreased dramatically. Well, it hasn't. People are still dying. You mean early mortality? Which is not the same thing. Mortality has not been decreased. I'm sorry to have to tell you, but everybody is going to die. The only question is when. By contrast, the expectancy of breeding. What's expectancy of breeding? What you mean the birth rate, which is not the same thing, has been increased significantly. All its why make it passive has increased. Therefore, the population in any section or part of the world, such as cities and countries, tend to escalate. What does that mean? The population, what? You mean there are more people? This means that the demand for travelling and commuting will be amplified in many towns. So why do we have 1, 2, what's this? 2, 3, right, so we've got 4, 7, right, so we've got, what is this? 63 words before finally we're getting to something akin to answering the question. The demand for travelling and commuting will be amplified in many towns. Take China, should be capitalised, with a high density of population, or with a highly dense population, for instance. In most of their cities every day, many people require commuting to the workplace on time. So that's the same in every country, is it not? What's that got to do with China? Why specifically China? So any second of delay, any second might cause a lot of postponement in people's work. Well, how would a second might cause postponement in people's work? Nevertheless, in countries like China, delaying in their means of conveyance. What you mean? Being late? Not really sure what that means. Is inevitable, and that's got to do with what? Answering the question. Actually, nothing. Okay. Well, the most suitable solutions to this issue. Well, what issue? What are you talking about? Because here you're talking about overpopulation, early mortality, increasing birth rate, lots of people in China, many people require commuting to their workplace on time. Well, that's the same in any city. So that particular example is an example of nothing. Okay. Developing the current hauling passenger system in many countries. Well, you haven't. But first, you said the issue here is there's far too many people alive and overpopulation. So what are you talking about now? This could be developing the current hauling passenger system. You mean redeveloping? Implementing and amplifying the present method of transferal, which means what? A survey conducted by Harvard University, 6% of existing structure for transiting or transporting people in crowds whatnot are inefficient. It's supposed to delay everyday trips. Therefore, it's just as more enhanced speed transportation in many towns not be resolved on the approach. Okay, well, let's see what the criteria says. So, first things first, task response. Does it fully address all parts of the task? No. 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 Addresses the task only partially. I think that's about right. If we look at it, transport. So, the question is, what causes transport delays and long journey times? So, most people say congestion, too many cars, inefficient transport, or overpopulation. So, in the 21st century, so you've got a lot of medical science, mortality, births rate. So, is that answering the question? Is this answering The question, many people, no, it's just not. It's just not answering the question, only partially. You can't get more than 5. Does it address all parts of a task? Well, no, it's just not. It's gone completely off topic. So, some main ideas, repetition, there's certainly some of that, because you basically say the same thing on several occasions. What progress? That's basically the same. Is that the same? Is that the same? Is that the same? So that's basically the same as that. Sentence 1 and 2 is basically the same. So, nah, sorry. 5, task, response. Cohesion and coherence. Let me just make a note of that. Task, response, 5. Okay, paragraphing. Cohesion attracts no attention. Logical sequence of information and ideas. Let's have a look. So, logical sequence of information and ideas. Well, no, because don't think current having system. Oh dear. Not really. I give it a 5 as well. I give it 5. It's not on topic and it's going round and round. It's not answering the question. It's just not doing it. Okay, now what about vocab? Well, vocab is not too bad. There's some interesting vocabulary here, but there's quite a lot of inappropriate word choices. So, adequate, appropriate range, less common vocabulary, some inaccuracy, that's true. Sufficient resource, some inappropriacies. There's some good vocab here, but some of it just doesn't quite work. Medical science and systems, that doesn't collocate. Possibility of mortality decreased dramatically. Expectancy of breathing, no, I mean that doesn't work. Will be amplification, that doesn't work. We're going to work based on time. Delaying in the means of conveyance. Okay. Implementing and amplifying. So there's some stuff here, but there's still some inaccuracy. However, I won't be too harsh. I would give it 6. It's not bad. I kind of really give it kind of 7. I give it 6. Now for the grammar. Grammar's not too bad, but there's still some errors. So how the grammar works, count the number of sentences. And it's a number of sentences without a mistake. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sentences. So you need frequent sentences. If you've got 13, obviously it needs to be more than half. So it needs kind of 7 or 8 without an error. So developing a transport system, because that's not strictly grammar. A good transport system and efficient transport system. That's like a vocab issue, but still that's the wrong verb for. So 1, 2, expectation breathing, 1, 2, 3, 5. So the grammar's not too bad. Again, I can't really give it more than 6 because there's some simple forms, there's some errors, there's not enough sentences without a mistake. So what I would give this, I give it 5, 5, 6, and 6. What's that? 10, 12, 22, 11, 5, 5.5. The main reason why I would give it 5.5 is task response. You're not really answering the question. You're talking about overpopulation, but you're not specifically tying that in to transport delays and journey times. If I mean, so what? So again, let's go over this again because it's giving me a headache. So in the 21st century, a lot of progress, medical science. Okay, okay. In the current world, early mortality is being decreased by contrast, so there's more people. So, okay, so you've basically taken 3 or 4 sentences to tell me that there's more people. This means that demand for travelling and commuting, well, I suppose so if there's more people. But you still haven't answered the question, what's the causes? You say, okay, there's more people. But take China. Many people require commuting to a workplace on time. Okay, but you haven't said that there's any delays or journey times. You say any second of delay might cause. So how can a second, it might cause, it is causing, is it not causing? And then here, finally you say a delay in their means of conveyance. So there is some delays because there's more people, but you've taken quite a long time to get to the actual point. Lots of people means there's a delay, but I mean, I'm sure and it says long journey times. So you know, I'm sure if it's a matter of seconds, people will be not unhappy with that. Current hauling system. This is very confusing for the reader. Right? It's just not answering the particular question. You might think it is. To the reader, the casual reader, it doesn't. Simple assertion is not an argument. There's no proof. That example is an example of nothing. This example is an example of nothing either. It doesn't tell me anything. So I'm afraid 5.5 is all you will get for this, and that's being kind of generous. So hope that helps.